Okay, so here we are shopping at my local department store. I picked out a few items that I think will demonstrate pretty well how to analyze these wallpaper patterns. Here, for instance, is a simple handbag pattern. This pattern only has rotational symmetries. If I put my pointer here, for instance, or here, you can see that rotating this pattern around that point 180 degrees would make it look exactly like the original. Thus this is a P2 pattern because it doesn't have any reflections or glide reflections, so only that twofold rotation. Here we have a pretty tacky tie. I don't think I'd ever wear it, but that's not why I picked it. This tie has a P4M pattern. That's because it has fourfold rotations. For instance, at the center of this square here, or at the center of this square, you have rotation centers of 90 degrees. Keep in mind that the blue and the brown are considered to be identical elements because we disregard any color. Notice also that where the squares meet is not a 90-degree rotation center. It's actually only a 180-degree rotation center because these squares would have to align with each other, and if I turn it 90 degrees, that's not happening. So at the vertex there is a 180-degree rotation center. At the center of the square is a 90-degree, and we always pick the smallest rotation. So this has the fourfold rotations. It has the reflection vertically, horizontally, as well as the two diagonals. So that's why this is a P4M. This is not really an item, but a shoebox, cover of a shoebox. I picked it because you don't see too many threefold patterns out there, but this is one. You have rotation centers at the centers of these figures here, and also right here in between these shapes. So if you put down the rotation centers, the different types of rotation centers, and then drew the reflection lines, you would notice that these rotation centers are not on any reflection lines. And that's why this pattern, when you follow the flowchart, is P31M. Okay, I didn't find any wallpaper here at the Nordstrom rack, but this is a very classic wallpaper pattern on this shirt that I picked out. This is probably the most typical symmetry pattern on vintage wallpaper. You can see that it doesn't have any rotations. You can see that easily because all these little floral figures are pointing the same way. They're all pointing upward. So that means that you cannot have any rotations. Now it does have reflections, like through that, right in the middle of that floral pattern, but it also has, if you drew the line here and then the next vertical reflection line, you would see that between those lines you have a glide reflection. So it moves up like that. And that's why this pattern is CM. And again, it's a very typical vintage wallpaper pattern. Now, last but not least is this shirt right here. And this is a little bit tough because it might look like it doesn't have any rotation, but it actually does when you keep in mind that, again, we're ignoring the color. So if you just take all these shapes, these parallelogram shapes to be identical. One's black, one's a khaki color, and one's an off-white. But if you take these to be identical, then you would see that right in the middle of the parallelogram, and then right in between the two parallelograms, you would have rotation centers of 180 degrees. So in fact, this has twofold rotations. Now also, right in between this vertical line created by the different parallelograms is a reflection line, because again, ignoring color, the white here would get reflected over the black, and the black would get reflected over the khaki, and so on. So this here is a reflection line, and that's the only type of reflection line we have. So this has only one reflections in only one direction, thus making it a PMG.